Hi and welcome to Pukekohe Park Raceway and a new season of mystery and mayhem. In other words, the Parker NZ New Zealand V8 Touring Car Championship, the main event in the Mike Pero Motorsport Series. The mayhem, of course, follows when you get a field of 30-odd cars, very evenly matched Ford Falcons and Holden Commodores lining up. And Greg Brink, the mystery is just who is likely to come to the top in this field. Now we've got so much more quality to add to the quantity.
Well, there's definitely no lacking quality this year, but that quality's got better because with the addition of Shane Drake this year, John McIntyre and Australian Charlie O'Brien. So it's going to be really hard to pick a winner.
It is indeed. I mean, Andy Booth last year, you'd have to say, had a dream run to the title. I'm really wondering if he can repeat that. That's against the odds, isn't it?
Well, not really. Early testing shows that Andy Booth's right on the pace again, so he'll be there. But you've got to remember the guys that gave him a hard time last year. Guys like Paul Pedersen, Dean Perkins, Angus Fogg, Wade Henshaw, Kane Scott. I mean, they're all going to be right there chipping away.
Yeah, correct. And also there were a couple of guys who had seriously bad luck last season. Remember, Paul Manuel, a big crash in the opening round. Mark Pedersen, ill for the whole round.
That's true. I mean, you've got the guys that were sort of beckoning to be good last year. Guys like Nick Ross, Brady Kennett, and of course Andrew Fawcett, a new team this year. Andrew Anderson. They're all guys that are just going to be right there, I'm sure.
I guess to sum it up, you want to know who's going to do well? Don't ask us. We don't know. One thing is for sure, though, the New Zealand Touring Car Championship, starting here at Pukekohe this weekend, promises to be probably the best ever. Even though the competition has intensified, the 30-year-old Booth comes into the new season with confidence up, his hopes high.
You've got to be confident if you want to take the title, but I'm under no illusions about how hard it's going to be. You know, we worked hard and had a plan for the championship last year, and it was probably made to look easier than it was. It certainly wasn't a cakewalk, but other people had bad luck, and probably the points gap was bigger than it should have been. But this year, you know, even just looking at the times yesterday, it was so close. Now I think we'll have that at every single track. Having a look through the entry list, I counted probably 18 drivers that could be a race winner on their day.
In the off-season, Booth has joined the Oryx team, partnering 2001 champ Paul Manuel, a man who's looking for a rebound from a smashed-up last season, but with no illusions about how tough this series is going to be.
In my opinion, there's probably 6 or 7 guys now in the class who would be tapping into that number one spot. So yes, it's very competitive and it's got a lot more competitive. So you know, the standards have been pumped up a little bit this year with all the different teams as you look around. So it's definitely raising the standards.
Another new team-up matches 2004 Rookie of the Year Angus Fogg and 99 champ Paul Pedersen, who made a late charge to second in the last championship.
Brand new team, brand new car for you. Does that bring any special challenges this weekend?
Not really. I think the team's been around for a long time in international motorsport with Lyle Williamson, so you know he brings a wealth of experience and management leadership. And you know, as I said before, with Angus coming on board as engineering and looking after the V8s, it's not a hurdle at all, to be honest.
The two Falcons were created in just 12 weeks, finished just in time for Friday afternoon testing.
We're definitely not 100% ready, and so the goals for this weekend are to finish every race and finish as best we can, but obviously under no illusions that we can go out and kick everybody's butt at the first meeting.
The Tracer team ran the late Ashley Stitchbury to 1 title and took Paul Pedersen to 2 runner-up finishes. And new recruit John McIntyre is aiming to add another championship.
Oh, definitely nothing less than winning the championship. That's what it's all about. I've been 3rd in the championship before with slightly inferior gear. I think I've got really good gear now, and there's no excuses. We've got to win it.
A late recruit to join him at Tracer is long-time Queensland touring car racer Charlie O'Brien.
Wanted to try something different, so I'm still doing the Porsche category back home, and I'm doing a couple of these races here. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of funding to do the whole series. But they're enjoyable, very, very much fun.
Wellington driver Andrew Fawcett has teamed up with three-time champ Mark Pedersen, who reckons he's gained a lot from last season, even as he sat out most of it with glandular fever.
Oh, absolutely. You know, we learned a lot of lessons from Paul Radisich and Johnny McIntyre in the car. So that's the thing, is the car's proven to be a race winner. So all I've got to do now is deliver the results myself. We built the brand new car for Andrew Fawcett, so we're feeding off information off that, and we're feeding information back to him.
Fawcett was third in the 2000 championship and a race winner last year.
You know, when we first started the old Trans Am lights in 1996, I think here at Pukekohe we had 22 drivers and you know, a lot of guys, a lot of ambition, but probably not the ability to go with it. But you know, now it's a completely different category and very, very professional with you know, many ex-champions and yeah, she's tough.
Dean Perkins, who lives just down the road at Pukekohe, has twice been third in the title fight, has a new Falcon and has been hoping a home track advantage will get him off to a good start.
It's always a bit of a help, but I would have to say I was pretty amazed at how quick some of their times were yesterday, especially from the out-of-towners. Yeah, it was sort of give us all a bit of a wake-up call. It's definitely some quick times.
Wade Henshaw, in the championship top three twice now, is very determined to make a real bid for the title this time.
I can't have any DNFs. Last year my car broke a couple of times. We've concentrated on making it a lot stronger. So yeah, that's the thing really. You've got to finish every race and try and finish in the top five. It's a numbers game and it's accumulation of those numbers. So yeah, that's the plan, to leave here in the top five and then go home, go to Ruapuna, win the round there, some home track. I don't want the East North Islanders coming down there and beating me on my home track.
Five-time Trans Am champ Kane Scott debuted in the V8s last season and would have finished a sensational second in the championship, but for a technical infringement that cost him a heap of points. Now he gives the impression of someone who just wants to get on with it.
It was a pretty tough class this year. Is it just going to be tougher again this time around?
Got no idea, mate. I'll just go out there and do the best we can, you know. Yeah, it's a great field and we're looking forward to getting amongst it.
New Zealand Grand Prix winner Brady Kennett, 7th last year, is refreshingly honest about what he needs to do to move up this season.
It's going to take a bit more commitment, I think, a little bit more bravery, but I think we can do it. Maybe not at Pookie, but I think everywhere else are pretty strong.
Andy Anderson, twice 4th in the championship, is another who desperately wants to go better this season.
We did have a bit of bad luck last year, got tied up in a lot of incidents. This year it's all going to be about trying to avoid those as much as possible and just keep accumulating the points. Kind of like one of those jackpots at the casino, you just want to keep seeing the numbers tick along.
The star rookie in the field is former Trans Am and Formula Ford star Shane Drake, making his racing comeback after a couple of years taking care of business.
Today's certainly going to be a learning day. I would like to think that by the time we get to round 2 or 3 that we can, you know, be in a position to, you know, challenge in the pointy end of the field. So yeah, it's all a bit of an education again, really.
But Wellington's Darren Henderson is probably the ultimate rookie.
Today is my 5th day in a car, and when I race tomorrow, it's my first ever race in a racing car ever. So don't think anybody else has done that, not on this level. So it's a big task, and I know that, but I'll give it everything I've got.
It's time now then to check out this Pukekohe layout, courtesy of Wade Henshaw.
Welcome race fans for a hot lap in the Mike Poe Mortgages V8 Commodore. Into turn 1, 4th gear, on the brakes, out wide, just back on the throttle, nice and early, keep the car in nice and tight, into the S's, back into second, straight into second, over the ripple strip. Okay, now turn the car in to get it on the back straight, really important to get it on the power, nice here. Carry the speed all the way down the back straight. Up through the gearbox. If you get out of that railway really well, you'll be on the limiter in top gear into the braking area. So hug the inside of the track, pick the brake at maybe about 120 metres, on the limiter, down into the gearbox, into the hairpin, into first, turn the car in, back on the throttle nice and early, squeeze it on,
Pukekohe racer Kevin Williams doesn't bother talking to his engineer when he comes into the pits in his strapping systems Commodore. That's because he's it, the driver and the engineer.
Compared to some of the other drivers in this class, you're perhaps a little bit more hands-on on the preparation of the car?
Yeah, I think the hands-on part may let us down a little bit, but like I build the engines, I do most of the work myself at work just to keep the costs down. But it's great to know the car inside out. That's a key thing. Like I know my car, everything on it, and we've got good horsepower, good straight line speed, so it should be good this season. Yeah, we're happy to be here. We've done a lot of preparation over the off-season and got the car going much faster than we have before, but we've still got a lot to improve on. And also now with the new Motec dash, we can do a lot more data and things, and that's really helping as well. Instead of being on our own, we're with 3 cars, Andrew Anderson and Michael Wallace, so that'll be really beneficial for us.
Williams came out of about 6 years clubman's racing in a turbocharged Commodore, straight into the V8 Tourers 4 years ago.
The first time you contested the series, you went really well?
We did, we went really well. We came 6th in the championship, and then we debuted the new car with the new shape on our second series, and we were running third, really good results, but then we had some mishaps and that put us back, so we're looking forward to a good season this year.
The final round of last year's series was your best performance. You're pretty confident you can carry that forward into this year?
Oh, absolutely. We were just getting confidence back in the car from our incident at Pukekohe last year when we virtually wrote off the car, and that's yeah, we're just slowly getting back into it, and it should be good this year.
Months ago, 30-year-old Aucklander Andy Booth notched up the 2004 Parker NZ V8 Tourer title.
Yeah, I mean that was a huge personal achievement for me last year after the year we'd had before, which I didn't do myself any favours with the way I drove, and everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And then last year with a different mindset, it all fell our way, and it was very, very satisfying to have our plan come to fruition and take away the championship.
You won 7 races, but a key to it really was the consistency.
Yeah, it wasn't until a couple of weeks after the season had finished that someone told me I was the only person to have finished every race last year, which then got me thinking, which I've actually never DNF'd in one of Wayne Anderson's cars. So, that's obviously a key part of it, is he gives me incredibly quick and obviously very reliable cars. We've never had a breakdown, and this year with the new point system, you're going to have to finish every race.
You're in the same car again, but new team. How did all that come about, and what was the attraction of making the switch?
We decided to stick with the same car. I've driven Wayne's built me a new car for every season we've done the championship. Yeah, we obviously won the championship with Team Kiwi last year. Then there was an approach from Oryx, and we just felt that was the right way to go. Incredibly professional team, very, very focused on the New Zealand championship, and obviously TKR with their resources a bit stretched across both sides of the Tasman. This was a good call for us, and it's worked out fantastically. Always thinking a little bit forward. I guess I've been racing a long time now, and I've been all around the world and raced all sorts of wonderful things. But really, really enjoying my time in the New Zealand V8 touring cars at the moment. If I just carry on doing this for the next 4 or 5 years, I'll be happy, because it's a great class and great people. But obviously would love to get the opportunity to race overseas again. I'm determined before too long I'm going to get a competitive co-drive at Bathurst. We looked at a few options this year, but ultimately it didn't happen. But I look at every opportunity that comes my way.
Single seater still part of those ambitions?
I'm 30 now, Colin. Once you've got a 3 in front of your age, you can't drive open wheelers anymore, can you?
Time now for the talk to stop and the action to begin. The start of the season just a few moments away as they warm the tyres, coming around for the start here at Pukekohe for this opening round of the Parker NZ V8s. What a field!
Yes, 36 cars of the original 37 entered. Absolute apprehension in the air here. The excitement is built. Here it comes. Andrew Anderson, big surprise, second on the grid for this race.
Yes, he's at the right place on the grid, front row. David Parsons, who we're on board with, got a lot of work to do to get up towards that. He's back in 32nd place. This is Mark Pedersen, former champion, making his comeback. And quite a few of these guys, as they get the tyres warm, got a lot of work to do.
This is Clark Proctor, one of the top rookies from last year.
Let's take a look now, though, at the grid. Andy Booth on pole with that 102.1 time yesterday. Andy Anderson in second. Then Wade Henshaw doing a great job for third ahead of Paul Manuel.
First of the Fords, John McIntyre in fifth. Alongside him, Kane Scott on the Commodore sixth. Andrew Fawcett in the new Team Ford Falcon seventh. And Mark Pedersen in eighth.
On row 5, it's Shane Drake, the rookie, coming in his Falcon, alongside Dean Perkins. Then it's Angus Fogg, also in a brand new car, alongside Clark Proctor.
Queenslander Charlie O'Brien 13th, alongside him Brady Kennett. Michael Tom in 15th, followed by Paul Pedersen in 16th.
Dainham Templeman starts 17th alongside Adam Brook. Then series sponsor Mike Pero is 19th beside Nick Ross.
Getting back to the thick end of the field now, we've got Kevin Williams in 21st, alongside him Craig Boot, Jared Carlisle in 23rd and Dale Lambert 24th.
25th place, it's Michael Wallace from Dunedin, alongside Miles Worsley making a return to the class. Then it's rookie Pete Roberts and Julia Hussif.
Next we have Dean McMillan, alongside him series rookie Darren Henderson as Commodore, 31st David Parsons and 32nd Mark Wooden.
Rookie Cam Hardy is 33rd alongside Grant Shivers, then Joe Farram alongside Hayden McKenzie, who qualified 13th but was knocked back to the back of the grid by a technical infringement. Oh, and bad news for Dainham Templeman as they come in from the warm-up. He's already into pit lane. And looks like Grant Shivers parked up there as well.
Yes, those guys must have had some trouble during the warm-up lap. Look at this crowd.
Yes, reckoned to be over 12,000 people here as they come down to the green light. They've already had one false start. Let's see if they can get it done this time. Booth doing a good job off pole, holding Andy Anderson on the outside of him. Running down the inside, Wade Henshaw slots into third, holding out Paul Manuel in the second Oryx car.
What a sight. Look at these guys go through these first few corners. Are they going to get through unscathed? This is all new to a lot of them this season, so let's just see.
Miraculous. Look at that through the S's. 36 cars squeeze. Very, very tight. Joe Farram at the back of it, but looked like hardly any touching. Just maybe a little bit of rubbing. Nothing nasty at all.
Meantime, up front, we've got the chief protagonist all looking for that lead. Andrew Anderson having a look around the outside early on. Not quite there, but giving it a good go.
Big lock up in the background. Michael Tom, I think it was, as they came down to the hairpin that time. Or perhaps it was one of the STA cars, Clark Proctor perhaps. Here's the second group, but look at the pressure going on here on the leader, Andy Booth, as they bounce over these bumps in the track around the Pukekohe layout.
Oh, look at Booth going wide there, just covering his ground. But look at Wade Henshaw. He's got to be the man to watch down the inside.
Oh, lots of smoke from someone there. That's a major looking at. That's Dean McMillan having a blow up on the first lap, so not getting very far at all. On board with Wade Henshaw, tucked in third spot there, eyeing up Andy Anderson in the Valvoline car and the Oryx car of Andy Booth out front. There's McMillan pulling into the pits, so he's out of it all. No, pulling off the track, not even making it to the pits. Back to the start. Let's look at it from the point of view of Kane Scott in the 6th place Super Cheap Holden Commodore, coming down the outside of the track. Looking forward to John McIntyre and Wade Henshaw on the inside, and going through on the inside of him, that is Johnny McIntyre.
Here's a replay from the start, this time from Shane Drake's point of view, back in 9th on the grid. Just in front of him, Andrew Fawcett in the new Hot Chili Falcon, Mark Pedersen next door to him. These guys holding station here. No one wants to put a foot wrong at this early part of the race. Down through the S's there. Looks like he's got past Pedersen. Nice manoeuvre.
Another point of view, this one the view of Michael Tom in the Hydrolink Commodore, starting back in 16th, tucked in behind Charlie O'Brien, looming up on the outside of him, Paul Pedersen, I think it is. Yes, it is. Had a very bad qualifying yesterday, did Paul. They went the wrong way on their setup on that Caltex car, brand new one, and now he's got the run on Michael Tom into the first corner.
Yes, running with Lyle Williamson this year alongside teammate Angus Fogg in the second of the Caltex Falcons.
Back at the front, and look at this. Wade Henshaw has gone through for second place. The Valvoline car drops back to third. Andy Anderson loses one place.
Looking out of the back of Kane Scott's car, look at Andrew Fawcett right up the back of him. Back in 7th place, Andrew Fawcett and the new Gary Pedersen prepared Ford Falcon doing a great job early in this race.
Here's the view of Andy Anderson sitting inside the Valvoline car, now in third place. What a revival of his fortunes this is, though. He was very confident coming into this meeting, said he wanted to make amends for last season. Looks like he's doing exactly that.
And look at Andy Booth go through this corner. This is one of the fastest sections of the track for him, and look at it. A little bit of oversteer. He's got that car so finely balanced.
These three cars starting to edge away from the rest of the field at the minute. They are very, very quick. Wade Henshaw, also very confident this season, says that he's done a lot of work both on himself. Oh, that's Dale Lambert. His season starting off very badly with a poor qualifier yesterday, and now heading into the pits along with one of the STA cars.
That's Clark Proctor, I think.
Yes, it is. Proctor's already out now. He's one of the promising rookies from last season. Maybe just a puncture. No, he's killed the motor. That's a real pity for him, a bad way to start the season.
Down the back straight, coming towards the hairpin, looking down through the field, we have Paul Manuel, John McIntyre, Kane Scott, Andrew Fawcett, very closely bunched together here.
Yeah, fifth place on back that fight, and that is a pretty intense one as the leaders just starting to eke out a bit of a gap there. Paul Manuel left in a bit of no man's land. This is Dean Perkins in the GT Radial Falcon. Looking back at the Hydrolink car, they're a little bit further behind these guys.
Just looking at Kane Scott over the hill here, he'd be probably a bit disappointed being that far back. I know early season practice he was very fast.
Yes, they seem to maybe lose their way a little bit in qualifying yesterday, along with Paul Pedersen, who dropped way back to 16th. Kane didn't do that badly, but certainly not up at the record-setting pace that he's made here at Pukekohe before.
I think we're likely to see that record drop today, Wayne, by the way things are going.
Fawcett giving him a good push along. Here's the view from Kane Scott's Super Cheap Holden, looking back at that hot chili Falcon run by the PSR team.
On board with Michael Tom down through railway. Whoop, that's Paul Pedersen going off.
Well, the bad luck continues for the man from Taupo. Looks like he might have got a little bit of a helping hand there, or else he's got a problem with the car. And slowing, yes indeed. Here comes Scott versus Fawcett again. Side by side down to the hairpin.
There's a view of the fight from Shane Drake's point of view, and yes, Fawcett's got through. Great pass.
So Shane Drake tracking those two as they continue their fight. Scott tucked right up behind the hot chili Falcon still. Not going to let him go if he can help it. Oh, and there's Paul Pedersen. That's the cause of his problem. Left front flat, heading for the pits. So as the former champ heads for help, out front the reigning title holder Andy Booth holds sway over Wade Henshaw, Andy Anderson, Paul Manuel in fourth, and Johnny McIntyre in fifth. Do not go away. Back with the action here in this first race of the season in the Parker NZ V8s, and a big fight building up at the moment for fifth place on back, with Andy Fawcett in the lead of it in the blue and white Falcon.
Check out the black powerbuilt car. That's Shane Drake, seasoned rookie, ex-Formula Ford champion, ex-Trans Am champion, right up there at the start of this first race for him.
Oh, big scrap going on there for about 11th place between Angus Fogg and Charlie O'Brien in the white Falcon. But now we're on board with three-time champ Mark Pedersen, tracking Shane Drake across the top of the hill. Very bumpy here, Greg.
Yes, good to see Mark up there at the front. Remember, last season had to relinquish his challenge due to the fact that he had glandular fever. But I know he's fitter and stronger, and he's really determined to win back that championship title this year.
Yep, there's talent to burn in this field this year. Andrew Fawcett, a former Trans Am front runner, for instance. Shane Drake, a former Trans Am champion. And, of course, five-time Trans Am champ Kane Scott, tracked by this guy who's won this title 3 times.
Andy Booth looking untroubled. There's Wade Henshaw, just not too far off him, but those two have pulled away.
On board now with John McIntyre in the Pennzoil Falcon. This car built by Moose Rolfe, the man who used to build Paul Pedersen's cars, and obviously done a great job with this machine as well.
Yes, new drivers and new cars this year, a lot of changes, and these guys will be just using this round to shake it all down and get it together.
Yes, some new team combinations, as you say. Another big fight in the background there. Dean Perkins mixed up in that one. So lots and lots of battles going on in this field. It's pretty hard to bring it all to you, but as you can see, this is a trouble up front here. On board from David Parsons, and it's Julia Houseff just spears straight off the end of the back straight into the sand trap at the hairpin.
That car won't be going anywhere for sure. Be interested to see where they bring the safety car out. In the meantime, these guys are still racing hard.
Yes, and heading back towards that part of the track as they start off down the back straight. We go on board with Mark Pedersen in his United Video Falcon, coming right up behind Shane Drake, right on the rev limiter there as he tries down the inside. Shane says, no, you've got to go around the long way. And the power-built car holds the inside line, and wait for it, there's Hussov's car. There will be yellows out there, Greg, I'm sure of it.
There won't be any overtaking at this point of the track, but this won't stop these guys as they move out towards the hill. Probably the fastest part of the track, this section.
Now Booth's got just a little bit of a gap there as they take those bumps on that left-hander, quite violent through there. Then there's Andy Anderson in the Valvoline car. There's Julia, she's okay, out of the car, but and the safety car is deployed now. Now this is going to be interesting, lap 7 of the race, so this is going to close everybody up on Booth, as this is Jared Carlisle not having a great time for his start to the season, pulling into the pits.
Yes, Jared Carlisle there, he just won recently the Rotax Nationals, up-and-coming star in karts and, of course, in V8 touring cars.
Poor old Julia, look at the debris, bits torn off the front of her car as it ploughed into the sand there. As the field files past one more time, let's just hope we get a restart here.
Andrew Anderson looking fairly relaxed, get a bit of air into there. Very hot temperatures inside these cars, something up to about 48, 49 degrees C. So these guys will be looking to get a bit of a cool down here.
Dino Perkins, how relaxed is that? The old arm resting on the gear stick.
Just looking down through the field here. Just there, we can see the white bumpered Celtics Falcon of Angus Fogg, Charlie O'Brien in the white car, Dean Perkins, Michael Tom.
Looked like Adam Brook right there, and then I think Kevin Williams.
And Nick Ross.
Nick Ross as well. The crowd hoping for a restart here because we don't want to get this race end with a whimper. It's been quite a good one. Lots of battles going on through the field, and the race officials doing their darndest to get Julia Hussov's car out of that gravel trap, but you can see how effective it is, and it's a pretty slow job getting that United Oil Holden Commodore clear. And no, it's not going to happen in time. There's the checkered flag waving for Andy Booth. This one ends with a bit of a whimper, but it was a great race right through the field until the last incident shut it down.
Yeah. I mean, it's disappointing to finish under safety car. It's always a bit of an anticlimax. I was hoping we'd at least get a 2 or 3 lap, run to the end. The car's great. There's some areas of the track that we've got to work on. Wade was eating me under brakes. There was something chattering underneath the car every time I got on the brakes, so we need to have a look at what that is. But it's the car is so quick up over the hill and round the sweep. It's awesome.
You got something to threaten Andy with?
Yep, definitely. His car's slightly better in one area and mine's slightly better in another. So all we've got to do is just sort of try and get our car a little bit better where his is slightly better. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to do to get things off on the right account. This is the hottest the track's been all weekend, and we just got caught out. We didn't quite make enough changes to deal with the higher track temperature, but we'll go away and we'll make some fine adjustments to it to get it on the mark. But yeah, to pull out a podium first off is very pleasing.
So here's confirmation. Reigning champion Andy Booth picks up where he left off at the end of last season to take the win over Wade Henshaw and Andy Anderson.
Oryx teammate Paul Manuel in 4th, followed by John McIntyre and his Falcon and Andrew Fawcett.
In 7th place it's Kane Scott, ahead of Shane Drake the rookie, then it's Mark Pedersen the former champ.
Brady Kennett in 10th, followed by Angus Fogg and Queenslander Charlie O'Brien.
For Taupo driver Paul Pedersen, this season brings change and continuity. The 99 champion and 2004 runner-up has switched teams, joining Lyle Williamson's international motorsport outfit as it debuts in V8s.
Not changed teams, yes, but stayed with the sponsor. I think at my age of life, I'm happy to promote Celtics Valvoline, and I'm really comfortable doing it. I've driven for them for 2 years with the Tracer team, and to continue now on for a 3-year deal with Celtics is a very good prospect going forward. Lyle Williamson and International Motorsport is a team that can deliver the corporate hospitality that Celtics and the corporate sponsor wants these days, and that's the most important part. The cars have got to be seen out on the track, they've got to be presentable, and yes, they've got to be fast.
The days of running his own team are gone, he says.
Yeah, just too busy working these days, and this is the better scenario for myself, where I have a backing of a corporate sponsor. I have a Lyle Williamson and International Motorsport running the teams and looking after the day-to-day operations of these race teams. And the old adage, I turn up with my helmet and test and race. So that's really the way I want to do it these days.
You've won this title before. What's it going to take to win it this year?
It's going to take probably more consistency than what we've had this weekend, going off our first showing. But just really to reiterate that this is a 3-year deal. Caldex and International Motorsport are quite aware that the cars were brand new on Friday. They've only arrived on Friday, and this year is really going to be just to manage as many points, as many wins as we possibly can, and give Caldex a showing. But next year, look out, because obviously we'll be in test mode through this year and next year.
There are stars in the big crowd here for the V8s, including champ car and ex-F1 driver Justin Wilson, visiting good mate Andy Booth, and this man, Australian touring car legend Alan Moffat, a guest of the GT Radial team.
What do you think about the class?
I think you've done a terrific idea where you've got a group of 36 cars, everybody is working together in terms of a management structure, so the fellow running last has got the same say as the fellow at the front, and the whole class is going to bubble up like crazy. This is exactly what happened with V8 supercars in Australia 10 years ago, and now we have a world-class series that can be raced anywhere. And as a New Zealand formula, you're right on the money here, as long as everyone keeps talking to each other and you look after the little guy as much as you do the big guy.
Have you had a chance to have a look at some of the driving talent that's here?
I've noticed the fellow leading the race was doing extremely well here today in the Oryx car. I think all of these fellows should aspire to being Bathurst material and follow in Jim Richards and Greg Murphy's steps. We don't want to steal all the drivers out of New Zealand, but we can use all the help we can in Australia. And Bathurst is so big now that the co-driver is a very big element in the success of the race. And I noticed last year, failure on the, well, when I say last year, last couple of weeks, failure of the co-drivers to cope with the strain of Bathurst. They weren't there. A lot of them weren't there. Unfortunately, Greg's co-driver was there.
Getting ready to run now for the second race in the Parker NZ V8s here at this Pukekohe opening round of the Mike Pero Motorsport Series. What a great sight again as we travel on board with Johnny McIntyre. They'll be starting, of course, in the finish order of the first race.
Shane Drake with the race face on. He'll be reasonably happy with the 9th finish, but he'll be looking to improve this next race. Mark Pedersen, of course, he's another one that we'll be looking for in this race.
Looking a bit further down the back of the field, the Territory Joe Farram, rookie, Pete Roberts, rookie in the DVS car as well. This is in the midfield. That's Craig Boot, the former stock car man, just ahead here. And this is another stock car man, Clark Proctor, who we saw out of that race early on. But to the grid, Andy Booth on pole, of course, alongside Wade Henshaw. Then Andy Anderson in third, alongside Paul Manuel.
First of the Fords, John McIntyre in 5th place on the grid. Alongside him, Andrew Fawcett and another Ford Falcon. Great performance from him in the first race. 7th, Kane Scott, and 8th, Shane Drake.
In 9th place, it's Mark Pedersen, the former champ, 3-time champ that is, alongside Brady Kennett. Good finish for him in the first one. Angus Fogg next, and Charlie O'Brien.
Local Pukekohe favourite Dean Perkins in 13th, alongside him Michael Tom, Nick Ross in 15th, Kevin Williams 16th.
The crowd treated to some good weather as well as some good racing here already today at Pukekohe. Reckoned to be over 12,000. That's quite a good crowd for the National Championship to pull in this early in the season. And here they come over the hill, the Oryx #1 car in its position that it finished in last season. Andy Booth at the controls, the 30-year-old. Had a great season last year. Looks like he's en route to repeating it right now. What a great start he's had so far. Coming down to the start, Wade Henshaw trying to get a run on him, trying to go around the outside, but no way. Has to pull into second spot. Good fight going on for third, but looks like Andy Anderson managed to shut out Paul Manuel in the 4th spot. Johnny McIntyre slots in next, and guess what? Once again, everyone looks like they're getting clean through these first corners. Sensational.
Great behaviour and actually good luck by the other good management.
Took too soon. Oh, Joe Farram, that is, the stock car, the Speedway man rather, drives a Speedway sprint car, but really found his hands full there and clipped the wall.
There goes Henshaw looking down the outside. He's determined to try and get Andy early in this race.
Got some wicked speed in that car. The Mike Pirro car says that they've done a major rebuild on both his car and series sponsor Mike's car, and now that he feels quite free and easy because he's totally devoted to the team, Mike Pirro having bought his race prep business from him, now working full-time for Mike Pirro Motorsport.
Yes, and he's looking very fit and strong. As I said before, he's done a lot of training on the off-season, and I'll tell you what, he'll be the guy to watch and give Andy Booth the biggest fight for this championship, I reckon.
One thing we haven't talked about so far, the cars that are first and third currently. Andy Anderson's car and Andy Booth's. This is Anderson we're travelling on board with in the Valvoline Commodore. Both of them built by Wayne Anderson. This is a replay of the start. Anderson just easing out Paul Manuel, who tried to come around the outside of him, but denied.
Yes, single file through here early in the race while the tyres are still cold. Here we are from another view from Kane Scott this time, a bit further back on the grid. Just in front of him on the left there, Andrew Fawcett. Great performance from him in the first race, and we're going to see Kane Scott do bigger things in this one, I'm sure.
Yes, it won't be for the want of trying, that is for real. Kane Scott very determined to do well here, and so far not. David Parsons we're on board with for his view of the start. Starting 23rd, Miles Worsley right in front of him in the green and white Falcon. Outside of him, that's Pete Roberts, one of the rookies from Taupo in the DVS Commodore. And Parsons taking it pretty easy, being very careful that he doesn't get caught up in anyone else's accident here.
A real bottleneck into these first few corners at Pukekohe. You can hear there, he's down to first gear.
Oh, and here's his teammate Joe Farram recovering from that incident right on the entry to the back straight, and he's headed for the pits, I would say.
Yes, a bit of an awakening to the V8 touring cars for Joe.
Here's the race leaders, Andy Booth with Wade Henshaw once more taking a look down the outside as they come to the hairpin. No way through there. Boothie is not going to fall for any tricks, but certainly Henshaw putting lots of pressure on him.
Looking out of Dean Perkins' car, here's the battle. It's Shane Drake down the inside of Angus Fogg.
Yes, Fogg must have had a great start, moved up from 11th to about 8th place there by the look of it.
Now looking at Henshaw here, he's told me between races he's determined to get in front of Booth, but Booth's he's a really canny racer. He knows where to put the car on the track, so he'll be working hard to get through on him.
Yes, oh, there's Hussov in trouble again. We saw her off at the hairpin in the first race. Here she comes back into pit lane, looks like retirement for her again.
Here we are on board with David Parsons. Quite a strong performance from him in the first race, came from near the back of the grid up to 23rd place, so he'll be looking to improve on that.
Here's the fight he's involved with right inside Grant Shivers at the hairpin. Miles Worsley just ahead of him. Shivers not going to give in though in the Hydrolink car, squeezes him back out.
Up front, Andy Booth still in control as he was in the first race. These guys are going to have to be doing well to get past him again.
Now we're on board with Dave Parsons' teammate Clark Proctor, and now it's him on attack on Grant Shivers, and he tags him. Going to that very fast sweeper off the front straight, just gets it under control again to Shivers and manages to hang in that line as they go through the S's.
Looked like he got a bit of a shock there, but he did counteract really well.
Down to the hairpin, well up ahead of those guys. Andy Anderson leading the Paul Manuel car. Tucked in behind him, Johnny McIntyre. Mac is back, as they say. And right behind him, Andrew Fawcett in the next of the Fords. Quite a good Ford Holden battle going on just here in the race.
Yes, John McIntyre, first time in the Falcon, and he'll be happy with the guy. They just haven't got the pace that the Holdens have at the moment.
This is Mark Pedersen on board in the United Video Falcon, back a little bit from those guys. Here he is there, in fact, trying to put the moves on Kane Scott. Oh, that's Mike Pirro. Looks like he might have got tagged, bang into the wall. That's a very fast part of the track coming up over the hill at Pukekohe, and luckily he just tags it, and that's all.
Here's a replay view of this from inside Clark Proctor's car. You can just see in the distance there goes Pirro off to the left.
Yes, hard to tell, was he pushed or did he go on his own? Don't know, there was quite a bit of smoke there. Meantime, this fight building up. This is 3rd, 4th and 5th place fight. Johnny McIntyre trying down the inside of Paul Manuel. It doesn't work. Here's the view from Andy Anderson looking forward and now looking back at that fight. Manuel tucked in behind him and hidden behind him, Johnny Mack.
Oh, this is Danum Templeman. Looks like he's got a problem. He's parking that car up.
Tight competition here in the midfield. That's Grant Shivers in the Hydrolink car. Tracked by Clark Proctor. In fact, the Hydrolink car in trouble. Shivers pulls to the infield. Busted right front on that. Oh, more action in the background. Jared Carlisle goes for a wild ride straight across one of the horse jumps.
My goodness, that was a big one. It looks like the safety car's come out, but that was always going to be a potential problem. And they've been very lucky up to now. These controversial horse jumps down the back straight have taken their first victim.
Yes, well, Jared Carlisle launched completely across there. Luckily, the car didn't seem to roll over as it disappeared. No surprise the safety car is out. Here's the slow-mo replay. Bangs into it, actually gets turned around, which straightens the car up a bit, luckily, I would say. And hopefully Jared's okay. Safety officials over there, of course, already. As the field goes slowly past now, the safety car has them under control. Here's Kane Scott's view of things as he tracks past that spot on the track. Such a quick part of the racetrack here at Pukekohe, where they really wind up to top speed as they head down towards the hairpin. And no surprise, Greg, that it's red flagged.
Yes, looking there, Jared Carlisle's out of the car. He looks okay, so that's good news.
Mike Perro's in the pits, but there's more action to come from Pukekohe. Midway through the second race of the Parker NZ V8s at Pukekohe, and after Jared Carlisle's big crash, they're heading for the restart at high speed. Andy Booth leading them down to the start-finish line. A chance for Wade Henshaw. He gets alongside of him, but I don't think he's going to make it. No, hey, oh, look at Booth's car flick out sideways as he takes that corner very, very quickly.
Very spectacular with Booth's car. He's really got that car setting up really taily. Very fast around Pukekohe if he can drive it on the edge.
Well, we've had two starts here so far with no one really touching each other through the S's at a start, and the restart sees the same job done.
This is the part the crowd love. They love these regroup cars, and it just sort of makes like two races in one here. Here comes Henshaw again, having another look down the back straight, pulling back from about 260k down to about 60 kilometres an hour through the hairpin.
Trying for the inside line now, but I think he's going to be denied as we take John McIntyre's on-board view, looking at Paul Manuel in front of him. Look at Henshaw monstering the back of the Oryx number 1, but to no avail so far.
Oh, here's an incident. That's Mark Woodden and Cam Hardy right down the back of the field, and it's just avoided hitting the tyres.
Just got it stopped in time. Meantime, up front, the pace is frenetic. Here comes Mark Pedersen down the inside. Oh, and look at the front spoiler on Booth's car. That looks like it's broken up and it's really shuddering, maybe threatening to come off as Proctor gets right off the edge of the track coming down the front straight.
Did well to keep it straight line. They're one of the fastest parts of the circuit, but look at Wade Henshaw. He's really pushing that car hard.
Back behind those guys, this is on board with Shane Drake about 12th. Oh, and that's Shane copping a hit, courtesy of Michael Tom's view right behind him. That's Johnny McIntyre's just elbowed his way by.
Yes, Shane got a bit of a lesson there. Opened the door up and just McIntyre went straight through the inside.
No beg your pardons about that one, that's for sure. There's Michael Tom, tracked by Craig Boot in the number 77 Shell Helix car. Looks like Angus Fogg right on his hammer as well. So a very competitive part of the field there as we go back on board with Tom.
Yeah, Michael Tom having a stronger race this time. Again, one of last season's front runners.
Oh, the splitter's come off Booth's car. We saw that shuddering. I just saw something fly off it as he came down to the hairpin that time. Here's the view from Wade Henshaw, a replay view of that. Wait for it. We saw it shaking and shuddering around. Oh, man, that just about collects Henshaw's windscreen. That would not be nice.
Now look at it flapping. Now what's happened here is the under tray part of it, which is the part that creates the downforce, is now gone. So it'll be interesting to see whether that's going to help Wade, probably put a bit more of a pressure on Andy.
Well, certainly Henshaw's had all the pressure on him already. Maybe this is enough, as you say, to get him by him. Here's the view from Henshaw's car as they go down through the S's. Look at Booth pushing it, using the curbs to the max, really making sure he leaves no space there for Henshaw to come at him.
On board with Mark Pedersen, working hard at the wheel, just outside the top 6 at this stage of the race.
Yes, I think that Mark would have been looking for better than this from Pukekohe. 9th in the first race, only 6th or 7th at the moment. And this man, John McIntyre, having a better day, and so is this guy, Andy Anderson.
Looking very relaxed at the wheel there, Andy Anderson. Love his driving position. Look at these guys going into the hairpin. It's really packing up there. Oh, who's that? That's Manuel down the inside.
Wow. He looked so relaxed, but he was actually under intense pressure. It just shows he's coping with it pretty well. A bit of smoke now, though, from his car, with Johnny McIntyre right on his hammer. Paul Manuel back behind him.
This racing's as good as it gets. I mean, this is unbelievable for the first round of the series. So competitive.
Back on board with Wade Henshaw in that second spot as they go back down the back straight one more time. Oh, this could be it. This is the last lap. In fact, this is his only chance of making it. Down to the hairpin this time, but Booth has held him out. Bit of late braking there maybe, but certainly no bad effect by the look of it from that loss splitter.
No, and it looks like he's going to take this one out. There's no way that Wade Henshaw can get past him now. Not over the hill. Just behind him, Andrew Anderson and John McIntyre still all over the back of him.
Yes, I think McIntyre might be having to settle for fourth, but certainly out front, Andy Booth taking his second win of the day. Damage splitter and all, no problem. Wade Henshaw, second place of the day. Andy Anderson, third place of the day. Not bad going from those three. And still the fights, Dino Perkins coming down to beat Shane Drake to the finish line. That will put him in about 11th place.
Yes, great. Look at that. Pole position, 2 wins out of 2. What a great start.
Andy, that's 2 out of 2. How much confidence does that give you?
Well, I mean, this is probably the best start I've had to a season in a long time. So, we couldn't even manage to win a race here at the first round last year. So, with a bit of luck, this is a sign of things to come. But man, it's competitive.
Andy, you're putting some really valuable points on the board. How are you going to approach the reverse grid race now?
Well, we've done the hard work now, and I think the reverse grid race is really just going to be a case of just picking positions off if they're available. Not over trying and really just coming home and hopefully finishing off and rounding off a good weekend so far.
On both restarts we saw Andy pretty sideways through the sweeper there. Was there ever a chance for you to have a look there?
No, you can't. To pass, you have to do something pretty drastic, and unless he made a mistake or a big mistake, I couldn't have got past without doing something that would have been a little bit silly, I think.
It's good because Paul and I got good confidence in each other and pulled off a clean move around the outside going into the braking area. So yeah, it's always the old story. A few more laps, maybe we got further up, but we were just picking the points off.
Jared, that was a pretty nasty looking accident at about the fastest point of the circuit. You're okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Got the bruise, but that's about it.
How badly damaged is the car?
Yeah, the car's pretty bad. There'll be a bit of work to do to try and get to the next round.
So Andy Booth takes out his second win of the day, just narrowly ahead of Wade Henshaw, with Andy Anderson third again.
John McIntyre again the first Ford in fourth, followed by Paul Manuel and Andrew Fawcett in sixth.
In seventh place, it's Mark Pedersen, the former champ, ahead of Angus Fogg and Kane Scott.
Aussie Charlie O'Brien in 10th, followed by local boy Dean Perkins and Shane Drake in 12th.
Aucklander Mark Wootton is starting his 5th year in the V8 touring cars, intent on maintaining his place in the top 20. That, he points out, will be a challenge, but that's exactly the kind of thing that got him into the V8s in the first place.
Oh, well, it's a challenge. I was back in classics, and sometimes you just have to dive in the deep end, and we just went out and bought a good car and got started and keep learning, and there keeps getting more to learn. As the times this year attest to, it's a really fast class this year, and it'll be a proud challenge just to be able to maintain our sort of 15th to 20th positions. Having started out with a good qualifying position yesterday, we stayed up till 5 o'clock this morning, replacing all the head gaskets on the car. We had a bit of a blow there, but we'll come back from that. Yeah. Spent a lot of money investing in the car this year. Yeah.
Given the car a pretty big upgrade for this season?
Yeah, big upgrades during the winter. Spent over $40,000 in panel work, suspension and data acquisition systems, and we're fortunate last week to bring on Orcon Internet. They've got ridden behind us, and we look forward to that paying great benefits in the season.
The time you've been in the class, how has it changed?
Oh, well, gosh. When I started out, there were 12 cars. They're all VK Holdens, and we were all trying really hard. But now,
The professionalism is huge. You need a big team. You need to manage that team efficiently, and frankly, you need quite a large budget to actually compete. But I think we're every bit as exciting as the supercars in Australia, and look forward to giving the crowd a thrill today.
Getting ready now for what has proven over the last couple of seasons to be probably the most exciting race of each round, the reverse top 10 finale to the day. A 16-lapper around Pukekohe. The guys getting ready, getting their minds psyched up, getting the tyres warmed.
Yes, this race is a fitting finale to a long day, especially being the first round. There'll be some guys here that are trying to actually remedy a bit of their reputation, I would suggest. But 16 laps as well, so it'll be a long, hard-fought race.
The top 10 order is decided by their points accumulated today, so the points are totalled up from the first 2 races, and then the top 10 is reversed. So coming around to face the starter shortly, let's have a look at the start grid, how that works out. It's the Aussie, Charlie O'Brien on pole, ahead of Shane Drake, or alongside Shane Drake, with Mark Pedersen and Kane Scott on row 2.
Next we've got Andrew Fawcett in the Hot Chili Falcon, alongside him the other Falcon of John McIntyre, Paul Manuel and Andrew Anderson in 8th.
In 9th place, it's the man who's got second twice today, Wade Henshaw, and today's double winner, Andy Booth, is 10th, ahead of Dean Perkins and Michael Tom.
13th is Craig Boot in his Falcon, followed by Kevin Williams, Hayden McKenzie, and 16th, Brady Kennett.
Charlie O'Brien bringing them down towards the green lights. Can the Aussie hold on? He's certainly a very experienced campaigner and would be very, very happy to take this one out. Look at Mark Pedersen trying down the inside as Shane Drake tries to muscle the Aussie around the other side. Will try to hold the line as he comes.
Here's the bang.
Contact. Who was that?
That's Angus Fogg. He got shunted off to the wall there. Big hit as well.
Here's the view of David Parsons. There's Fogg coming through on the inside, trying to pull around the outside. Now he got a great start, pulls alongside Miles Worsley. That's who it is. They come together and Fogg just gets pitched sideways into the wall. That's a very big impact.
There's another view looking down on it this time. You'll see here that Fogg gets a flyer of a start. Worsley just didn't see where he was, moved over, bangs, knocks him in straight into the barrier.
Well, it is a dangerous place to go around the outside. Of course, it sets you up for the next part of the S's, but that is a risk you take, you'd have to say as well.
He's done some serious damage. And meantime, look at this. Charlie O'Brien, the wiliest fox in the field. He'll be hard to pass, but look at that. Shane Drake's all over him already.
Shane Drake tucked up in there. Mark Pedersen in 3rd place. Then it's Andrew Fawcett. He's been a form runner today, and the Falcons pretty busy at the hairpin, you'd have to say, just behind there. But everyone getting through fairly safely. Spoke too soon. I think that's Mark Wooden getting turned around there slightly.
Aussie V8s, eat your heart out. These guys know where it's at. Look at the competition here. They're all over the track.
Certainly a big scrap going on for 3rd place between teammates Mark Pedersen and Andrew Fawcett.
Here's a replay of the start, this time looking out of John McIntyre's car. On the right of him, Andrew Fawcett, and in front, Kane Scott and Mark Pedersen.
Gets the drag away from the line, all right, trying to pull over to the pole line, but no, look who's there. Andrew Fawcett in the Hot Chili car squeezes him out. This is Dean Perkins' view, looking back at Craig Boot, getting away from the hydraulic car of Mike Tom. Now looking forward. Oh, look at Booth get out wide there and loose as we saw him in the earlier race. Is he going to get squeezed out? No, he's going to claim it back.
And on board here with Clark Proctor just a bit further back in the pack. As you can see, everyone taking it fairly easy into this first corner, looking for that inside advantage, but out there you're not going to do it from there, Clark.
And now down the back straight we go on board with Mark Pedersen trying to get past Shane Drake. Now that's going to be a great move. Look at the power that thing's got.
On the rev limiter too is right on it.
Oh, boy. That's what you call close. Andrew Fawcett comes bombing up there. So Pedersen hasn't got this pass done yet. Oh, now he tags Drake. He's turned him around.
Oh my goodness, that's not been a good day for Shane Drake. He's had a bit of bash and crash today. It's a bit of an indoctrination to this class, I'd say.
Yeah, talk about a tough initiation, and look what it's done up front. That battle has now put Charlie O'Brien in the lead out front, with Mark Pedersen dropping back a little bit. His teammate Andrew Fawcett right behind him. Then Johnny McIntyre next. A big Ford procession at the front of this race.
Yes, a little bit of reverse rolls there. The first 4 cars all Ford, so roll on the Fords.
Wade Henshaw, the first Holden in 5th place, taking pressure from Paul Manuel at the moment. But Henshaw was very, very quick in that last race and clocked a new lap record here at Pukekohe.
Yes, look for Mark Pedersen here. Teammate Andrew Fawcett right behind him. These two guys are the ones to be looking for in this race. I picked Mark Pedersen to be putting some pressure very quickly on Charlie O'Brien.
Certainly that Pedersen Sheehan Racing team, PSR team, very, very good at turning out very fast Falcons. And this is their chance to really show it off. Look at them making big inroads on Charlie O'Brien's lead now. Suddenly across the top of the hill, they really wound him in.
Yeah, they've got these cars pretty well set up. I understand Fawcett's car was only finished the night before the race, so he's got to be really happy with the way it's performing.
Mark Pedersen has got the older car, last year's car, which was run by John McIntyre to race wins, by Paul Radisich to race wins as well, when Mark Pedersen came down with glandular fever last season.
And looking at it here, it's got all the bugs ironed out. It's a flyer. Look at that.
They gave Andrew Fawcett the choice of a new car or this car. He chose the new one. Did he make the right choices? He gets McIntyre down the inside. McIntyre tags him, but almost loses it, gets it back under control. Big sheet of flame as he chops the gears down and gets underway again.
Look for that inside running, but you've got to remember this is the end of the day for these guys and the brakes are starting to get a bit tired, and it looked like he had a brake problem there.
Yeah, it cost him a few places. Dean Perkins got past him for one, and I think a couple of others too.
And look at...
Choose your line. Which way are you going to go? He's going to make him go around the outside, and now O'Brien pulls a little wide as well. Bit naughty there maybe, just choosing a couple of lines into that fast stables corner.
Yes, Charlie raced the GT3 Porsches last year and he was recognised as the hardest guy on the track to pass, and he's now showing wide.
O'Brien has so much experience. He's raced here in Pukekohe in Formula Atlantic cars in the old days. He came back in the old Nissan Mobile 500 days in all sorts of different machinery. He has really been around. Now putting that experience to good use as Pedersen looking from Wade Henshaw's view as Pedersen tries around the outside. Don't think it's going to work this time either, but look at Henshaw.
Down the inside, and here goes McIntyre.
McIntyre really locks it up this time. He definitely has got brake troubles, I'd say. That was like a handbrake turn at far too fast a speed into the hairpin.
Oh, it's really slippery down there. Looks like there's some problems there. Look, guys having a lot of trouble getting through that hairpin. But regards McIntyre, he's definitely had a back brake lock-up, so he won't be going anywhere.
Kevin Williams in the strapping systems car caught up there, doing quite well. Here's the replay from on board Johnny McIntyre. Wait for it. Suddenly the back end just snaps around on him. No chance to hold that, Greg.
Yeah, that definitely highlights what I just said. I think he definitely had a back brake problem. Shame, because he was looking threatening.
And here's Andy Anderson's view of it. He almost goes off in sympathy. Now he gets tagged again. Wow, what a wild ride he's having. He gets hit a couple of times and looks like he was caught up with his teammate Kevin Williams there.
Of course, the other factor here, the rear tyres are now going off, and you can just see there, whoa, oversteer either way. Tyres are going off, the guys are just having to feather the throttle a little bit more.
Michael Tom somehow threaded the needle there and managed to miss him, and now we've got a new race leader. Mark Pedersen has finally got the job done on Charlie O'Brien. He's left the door wide open. Wade Henshaw will come through if he's not careful. Well, maybe. No. Let's see. Next corner will tell. No, he hasn't.
And look at Andrew Fawcett in the background there. These guys are doing it.
What a great race. Mark Pedersen, a great move. That thing has got some serious power, doesn't it?
Oh, they've got, and honestly, you can see it. It's getting the power down out of the corners too, and that's the difference. He's getting the drive.
Lots of smoke there. It's from the Oryx car of Paul Manuel, running in 4th or 5th place at the moment, really belching a lot of oil smoke out the back of it.
It doesn't appear to be slowing him down at this point, so maybe it's maybe a braking problem, or no, that definitely looks like engine oil.
5th place as he tracks Andrew Fawcett. Doesn't seem to be slowing him at all. This is looking back from Dean Perkins, looking back at the 2-race winner, Andy Booth, is it not? Yes, it is. Lots of smoke in the background there as well.
But look at Mark Pedersen. He's just gone away from these guys. Look at the battle for second. Wade Henshaw down the inside. No, not this time.
Charlie O'Brien holding his line. Look at the smoke now from Manuel's car. That was Julia Huzzov stopped off the side of the track. That's her 3rd time unlucky today.
Yeah, she'll be looking for a better result next time. Meantime, Wade Henshaw, he's just going to look for that gap and hope that Charlie O'Brien can make a mistake.
Well, Mark Pedersen picked him off. That was down at the hairpin. I don't know whether Wade's... Oh, look at the smoke from Manuel's car. The man copping that on the windscreen is Dean Perkins, a little way back, and that could be why he's a little way back. That's going to be pretty hard to contend with, isn't it?
Now, this is going to create a problem for the guys behind there and even the other competitors, because leaving a fine layer of oil on the tracks, that combined with the wear on the tyres, could create some interesting driving.
So the drama continues here at Pukekohe. Rejoining the action here at Pukekohe in the Parker NZ V8 Touring Car Finale. That's the opening round, third race. This is the fight for 7th and 8th place. Kane Scott holding it down at the moment, but taking a lot of pressure from behind from Andy Booth, the man who's already won 2 races here today.
Yes, and Kane Scott will know he's there and be trying to prove a point because he's had a tough day at the office.
Oh, this is an attempted passing move by Wade Henshaw for 2nd place on the number 74 Ford Falcon of Charlie O'Brien. There's our race leader out front, passing through the frame. This is the big fight though, 2nd, 3rd, 4th on back with Paul Manuel increasingly smoky there. Look at that.
Look, Wade Henshaw will be getting a little bit frustrated knowing Mark Pedersen's getting some gap on him now, but it's just a matter of time. He's got to be careful here. Points are important.
This is the battle from 8th to 11th, on board with Michael Tom. And that is quite a fight as well. There's scraps going on all through the field here. And you can see the smoke screen. Ooh, there's Andy Anderson going around the outside of Michael Tom. Good passing move there.
Yes, made him another place, and the points, as I said before, are important in this third race. Could make and break the day. But look at the oversteer on Charlie O'Brien's car.
A bit of a sign of the tyres being used up, maybe?
I think so, but look at that. Manuel's hanging in there.
Well, Manuel is lucky that he is, I think, because you might think that the officials might take some action against him soon. Lots of oil smoke, but here you go. Wade Henshaw has got the speed to get past Charlie O'Brien's Ford Falcon, going down to the hairpin this time.
What a drive. 9th to 2nd. That has to be the drive of this race.
And Manuel travelling at unabated speed, whatever the cause of that smoke is. You can only imagine it's oil smoke, but he's still running right with these guys, and now he's lining up Charlie O'Brien on his sides.
And we've got the safety car out on the track. I don't know what this is for. Oh, he's pulling off. I wonder what's happening. Maybe that's the fog incident.
Well, that's where Foggy went off on the first lap, so I hope he's okay. Meantime, what have we got here? The guys coming around past that point on the track. There's Wade Henshaw with the fight right behind him. Yellow flags waving there.
So there's a bit of confusion here from our point of view. I wonder whether the guys are finding it confusing.
Well, no safety car that we can see in front of Mark Pedersen, so the safety car hasn't picked him up. These guys continue their fight, having gone through that yellow flag section of the track there.
Well, they certainly haven't slowed down at all, and Wade Henshaw is out to try and reel in Mark Pedersen.
Well, there's Mork, as he's known, out front, and with that big buffer on Wade Henshaw, Johnny Mack in next place, under attack from Paul Manuel, then Andrew Fawcett, Dean Perkins looking further back. There is Kane Scott, there is Paul Pedersen. Big fights going on. Now we've got Pete Roberts off at the Castro. Looks like he's gone straight across the S's. And now we have the safety car sign again and more yellow flags. Wow, now we really don't know what's happening. Now that is Johnny McIntyre. He's been out for quite some time.
Okay, we've got the green flag back again here. And what is this?
Oh, well, these guys are just going for it.
Well, the race is back on.
And there is a green flag.
Well, it's hard to work out what's happening here, but whatever's happening, these guys are still hard at it.
This is Dean Perkins almost tagging Paul Manuel as they go through the S's this time. And now he really is copping lots of oil, I think, on the windscreen. You can see it dotted all over there. This is on board with Andrew Anderson.
Back in 9th place. I'll tell you what, Dean Perkins will be wanting an oxygen mask with the amount of fumes coming out of the back of Manuel's car.
Oh, someone straight off there. There goes Grant Shivers. He's had an exciting day today, hasn't he? Saw the wheel off that car earlier. Now he goes straight. Oh, Dean McMillan straight across the end. Look at the water there still.
Bit of rallycross.
Oh, that didn't look so good. And more damage on one of the front of Booth's car, is it? No, it's Manuel's car. He's trying to monster Andrew Fawcett as they come round the left-hander, heading for the hill one more time. The green flags wave. Oh, it comes down the inside of him.
It's a touch there.
Oh,
no.
Touch.
No, we don't want to be doing that.
Oh, more action behind. That's Kane Scott, and he hits Andrew Anderson fair midships. Anderson gets turned around. I think that was a chain reaction from what happened ahead with Paul Manuel getting hit.
There's a touch there. You can see him going wide. Then in the meantime,
Andy Booth off to the side, right on the grass there. I think he was right behind them. Could have been the one that touched Kane Scott. Can't really tell from the angles we see. Definitely those guys travelling very close. Suddenly Booth was off the edge of the track. Look at the impact on Scott's car.
That's one corner. You just don't do that sort of thing. The touching is not. Here we go. This is Andy Booth looking at back from Kane Scott's car. Bang, bang.
He cops the hits. Yes, definitely.
That was naughty, Mr. Booth. Not a good look.
Oh, and that's a big hit. There's a lot of damage on Kane Scott's car. We could see that before it even came to rest. Here's the in-car view from Andy Anderson. You know what happens to him? Oh, look at that. And he's just along for the ride, manages to gather it up, and what does a race car driver do? Select a gear and get going again.
Great recovery, but he sustained some serious damage. Meantime, the winner out of this is Mark Pedersen. He can afford to back off now and still win this race.
He looks in the rear vision mirror trying to see if anyone's come round the hairpin. Nobody has, mate. You've got it well and truly clear. Wade Henshaw in second, Charlie O'Brien in third. They're a long way back.
Well, these guys will come over the hill now and see what's happened there. I mean, there was a lot of damage in that crash. I mean, hopefully the safety car won't be brought out. We'll just wait and see.
Paul Manuel fourth and Dean Perkins in fifth place now as they come across the hill. There's the Smoky Manuel car. He was definitely caught up in that incident with Andrew Fawcett, just ahead of the real crash that happened with Kane Scott and Andy Anderson. Now they're coming through here.
What's it all slowed down? Is this safety car again? It looks like it.
Yellow flag, that's because the safety car was out there earlier, I'm guessing. What's happened? We didn't see a checkered flag, I don't believe there was one, but these guys have either slowed down, is there a safety car in front of them?
Well, this is unusual because normally you'd slow down if the safety car was in front of you. But
Mark Pedersen's still going for it.
Yeah, no, there's a confusion
He's
here.
way down the back straight, well ahead of those guys. Looking back to see what's happening. Look, confusion reigns here at Pukekohe. Mark Pedersen's going to win this race. We make it another. He's heading to the checkered flag now. Here's on board with Andy Anderson going down the back straight. Look at this, people going everywhere. I think it's Paul Pedersen has come from way back in the pack. Andy Anderson's off in the grass, Dean Perkins got him. I think some of the field think the race is over. There's Paul Manuel, he's got up to, what is it, second place.
Yeah, here we go, it's Mark Pedersen for the win anyway.
Oh, unbelievable, but there's been a total shambles. Half the field, I believe, think that the race is over. Shane Drake getting tagged yet again by somebody. Brady Kennett maybe, don't know who it was, over at the hairpin. Paul Manuel is coming through second. Paul Pedersen third. Unbelievable, they were so far back in the pack. Where's Wade Henshaw? Where's Charlie O'Brien? Don't even see them yet. Maybe that's Charlie O'Brien off to the right, just coming through now. Well, this is going to take some sorting out, I tell you.
John McIntyre there, he's even confused. I think he's not even part of the race.
Look at Kane Scott's car, so much damage on that, and there is Kane Scott taking a look back as he goes back to the pits. He will be very, very unhappy, you can guarantee that. No question who won the race.
Great result for the team. Mark Pedersen back on form this year. Watch out, guys.
Why didn't those black flag men away? Yeah. Spent the whole race in all slick, eh? Yeah. And what was the story with the last lap board?
They did another one.
The last lap board came out.
Yeah, no,
and then
the ticket came out. They got a ticket.
I thought I would finish under a yellow.
Yeah, exactly. Because one on accident. You won the weekend easily.
Yeah. Why the that in black flag manual, eh? It's just boring out there.
I seen I got the ticket and then it's still racing.
Yeah, well, they didn't have a lap. Yeah. So you've got pretty good last.
Wade, bit of confusion, bit of controversy. Can you make any sense of it?
Well, I got the ticket, so I slowed up. I actually got the last lap board and then the ticket, so I figured I got second, which means I won the round. So I'm pretty happy. But obviously we've got to go and sort out how many laps are in the race and sort out what's going on.
So I came around, I saw the last lap board. When I came around the next time expecting the checkered flag, there was yellow flags out with the crash on the start. And then going up the back straight, everybody takes off for another lap. So, you know, like I was sort of fairly well confused, yeah.
The safety car boards came out and no safety car, so you don't know whether to back off or race. So, mate, I just race. I just go till I see a checkered flag is the day I button off. But saw another last lap board, I thought, oh, better go again. So caught all the guys napping down the back straight, just blitzed past them.
That was the most confusing race I've ever done. I mean,
it doesn't take much to confuse us, mate.
We're not that smart. But I don't know, safety car boards out, no safety car, green flags waved. I don't know what was going on. You know, everyone else seemed to be deciding when, half the drivers at the front were deciding when the race was finished, and all slowed down. And I mean, made themselves look like Muppets, I guess, because they lost a lot of places. But I really didn't have a clue what was going on.
The smoke from your car, was that a concern?
Was it smoking? Yeah, it was a concern. We had a few oil lights flash up, but it was very closely monitored throughout the whole time, and I was speaking to Mike, my engineer, throughout the whole thing. So, I mean, we weren't going to do any unnecessary damage to the engine. It probably put a little bit of oil on the track, but I guess not enough to cause a major concern for a black flag. So,
Yeah, very fortunate.
No, Andrew Bowley, our spotter on top of the roof of the transporter, just done an absolutely amazing job there and picked the whole race up as it was unfolding and the confusion.
It's a terrible thing to have done to us. It didn't need doing, and now I guess justice will take its course. There's officials out there that are watching those things, and they've come down heavy and said that there's going to be tough penalties for driving standards, and clearly this is an example where that needs to happen. I also have to say, the selfishness of a competitor to drive around that track for 14 laps, dropping the amount of oil it does, wants to go home and have a bloody good look in the mirror at himself. That's just unfair to endanger the lives of every other competitor on that track.
In the wake of the confusion, a quick decision from race officials to declare the race a lap early after 15 laps before the confusion that cost Henshaw, O'Brien and co their valuable places. So the results are provisional pending an inquiry later into the Kane Scott crash, but Mark Pedersen the winner ahead of Wade Henshaw and Charlie O'Brien.
Paul Manuel comes in 4th, Dean Perkins 5th and Andrew Fawcett in his Falcon 6th.
In 7th is Andy Booth, Paul Pedersen finishes 8th, then it's Clark Proctor in 9th.
Andrew Anderson recovering from his crash finishes 10th, followed by Kevin Williams in 11th, Michael Tom 12th.
And in the championship, the 3 second places for the day put Wade Henshaw in the lead of the championship by 9 points ahead of Andy Booth with Paul Manuel 3rd.
4th equal Andrew Anderson and Mark Pedersen and his teammate Andrew Fawcett in 6th.
Charlie O'Brien is 7th ahead of Dean Perkins and John McIntyre.
Rookie Shane Drake finishes 10th, followed by Michael Tom and Kane Scott in 12th.
He's fat and he don't run too fast, but he's faster than me. Last night at the show we saw him going out of the street. He's a walkie-talkie. We all had